gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's March the 19th, 2024. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined once again this morning by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day. And Matt, the news of the day with obviously, well, it will be the football program returning to the practice field this morning to resume spring practice. I want to talk about that in a minute. I hate the format where you practice 3 times, you take a week and a half off, and then you come back and practice for 3 weeks. I'm not quite sure I understand that. I mean, I know it's to try to fit everything in with spring break and everything, but God, I mean, I would like to think there's got to be a better way, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's not. But we got to talk about that as the show goes on, and we also got to talk about Pro Day that we both had the opportunity to attend yesterday at the U, and it was kind of interesting to see the goings on at Pro Day. We'll talk about that. But I have to begin the show today once again with talk about what is going on with the basketball program, because this is unlike anything I think we've ever seen. I don't remember a situation like this where such a large number of players who could come back are clearly going to be leaving, and the number appears to already be 5. We see headed to the portal, Bensley Joseph headed to the portal. Freshman backup center Michael Nwoko headed to the portal. Underperforming reserves Christian Watson and AJ Casey headed to the portal, and signs that freshman Keyshawn George is going to turn pro. Although I got to believe that Jim Larinaga is trying to put a stop sign up there and rally the NIL troops and say, we need Keyshawn George to stay in college one more year. Keyshawn, you can develop so much more as a player, which he can. I didn't think he was even a very good college player this year. I know all the pro scouts have been saying he's going to be drafted probably in the first round. I'm not quite getting it. And, I'm not like throwing sand on Keyshawn George. I think he's a good prospect, but like he wasn't very athletic this year. His shot was not very consistent. He did not play very good defense. And I know he's a big, he conjures up images for people of, man, this guy's got 6'8" with guard skills, which he potentially is, but he's not even close yet. But all the people that prognosticate NBA draft picks are saying that he is a first-round pick. If he is a first-round pick, he will go into the NBA draft almost certainly. But like I said, I don't expect Larinaga to give up on that one so fast, and there's not been an official announcement there to this point. But so many other, decisions still to be made. Matthew Cleveland, what's he going to do? Nigel Pack, Norchad Omier, Wooga Poplar. Those 4 guys are all, I think, working their way through their process right now. I don't see how, with all this turnover, Larinaga can just wait weeks upon weeks of knowing who's coming back as he tries to put a team together for next year. I think you'd like to keep Pack and Omier without question. Poplar, that's a tough one because, he has shown now that he shrinks when things get real on the court. And he shrunk this year in a big time way. You're talking about a guy, I mean, I've watched him in practice hit 29 out of 30 3-pointers. I mean, this guy has an incredible stroke. He has an NBA jump shot. He gets in games, it becomes very inconsistent. He becomes very unreliable. He doesn't handle the ball particularly well. He's stumbling around a lot. He's got a lot of work yet to do on his game as well. But I think that with all the other departures, that Jim Larinaga will take Wooga Poplar back if he will come back. I gotta believe that would be the case. I mean, you don't want to have to go sign 10 guys. All right. I mean, they're already going to have to sign probably 4 or 5, I would think, at least out of the portal. So this is a big challenge for Jim Larinaga. It's a lot of recruiting that has to take place over the next month, a lot of pressure on his staff to identify the new players that are going to be coming into the program. And there's a lot of pressure on Larinaga because he is going to be 75 years old this year. And if Miami has another bad season, there are going to be serious conversations about whether he should retire. And I mean, there's no avoiding it. Even with the Final Four, just 12 months in the rearview mirror, 75 is 75. And a bad season like they had this year is a bad season. So a lot of pressure, a lot of uncertainty, a lot going on, Matt. I know we talked about this yesterday, so we're not going to go on and on about it. But what was going through your mind after watching day one of the, I'll call it remake of Miami basketball?
Yeah, I've actually lost interest. I mean, the college basketball is not what any fan wants to see anymore. Larinaga said half of the entire college basketball, like add up every college basketball player there is on scholarship, he said half of them are going to be in the portal. And why wouldn't they? And by the way, I still don't understand why that doesn't happen in football, because when you go in the portal, it's a bidding war. Otherwise, it's an under the table illegal bidding war. What's the downside as a player to going in the portal? I mean, if you want money, which I think players apparently want money for some bizarre reason, but go in the portal. I mean, the whole team should leave. Is that fun for a fan? No. But you know what? I would highly encourage every single student athlete in every single sport in college to go in the portal, because that's what I tell my own child to do. Why wouldn't you?
They're going there.
Examine your options. Anyone who doesn't go in the portal, honestly, is a moron. I mean, the system is built for you to go in the portal, 100%. Because guess what? If you go in the portal, you can still go back to your team. And you know what? If your team doesn't want you back, you shouldn't be there anyway. What's the downside? Like, there's zero downside. If the NCAA wants to have the stupidest system ever created to destroy its own fan base, to destroy every college program for every sport out there, they've managed to do it. Somehow the NCAA has managed to destroy its own sport, which is very difficult. So, kudos to them.
And football's doing a good job with the way this conference realignment's going. They're doing an equally good job, and they got the NIL situation. But look, I mean, Jim Larinaga, clearly he's trying to hang on here for another year or two. This is going to be a nightmare for him.
He literally said the only thing he enjoys is going to practice. Like, that's basically what he told us. He's like, I'm still coaching because I like going to practice. And he's like, when I stop going to practice, I'm going to stop coaching. Like, literally, he said he hated everything else about his job except for working with young student athletes on the practice board.
75-year-old coach, this is an absolute nightmare. You're talking about 4,000 players who play college basketball, and about half of them are expected to be in the transfer portal. I mean, it's unbelievable. Now, if you got the NIL behind you, which I believe that Larinaga will, it might not be 4 million like some teams might have. It might only be 2 to 3 or somewhere in there. But I believe he will have the NIL dollars to go out and hunt for transfers. And if he is successful and he can bring in guys that can play, it'll work out okay. Miami will have a competitive team next year. They got a great freshman coming in, a 5-star kid, Jaleel Bethea, who is absolutely unbelievable. Probably will be the best player to ever come in as a recruit in Miami basketball history. If he shows up as good as he looks like he is. And so there's excitement there. And if you can bring back Pack and Omir and Poplar, and then, take these 3 freshmen and supplement it with 4 or 5 transfers, you can have a decent team. But you got to make those transfers count. They can't just be depth fillers. They got to be dudes that can play. So this is going to be a very interesting time. We are going to do our best to cover it for you guys here over the next month or so. And we will see what happens. And we will leave it this morning at that. Because like I said, we did talk a little bit about it yesterday. So let's move on, Matt. Pro Day at the U. Pretty mellow out there, man. I mean, I mean, it was basically a bunch of guys that had no business being out there that should be coming back to college next year, quite honestly. Out there trying to impress NFL scouts and who didn't seem all that interested, quite frankly. I mean, they did their obligations and watched at times, but A lot of socializing going on out there. And, James Williams wasn't even really working out. He has some type of injury. You had Leonard Taylor, Branson Dean out there doing D-line drills. Cam Kinchens, obviously, and Corey Couch doing defensive back drills. The most exciting thing to come out of Pro Day, Matt, I would say, was Cam Kinchens improving from his 4.65 NFL Combine 40-yard dash time. He ran 4.56 on, when you look at some of the other times, is a clearly fast track in the Miami Indoor Practice Facility, built for speed. Tyler Harrell put up a 4.2. To Corey Couch ran, I think, a 4.4, very good time. So guys were running pretty well. And Cam Kinchens, I thought, helped himself a little bit yesterday with his workout. But Matt, your general impressions of Pro Day?
I mean, it was like going to a bar mitzvah or going to a bat mitzvah. It was like, see and be seen. Don't stay too long. I mean, this thing was over like before it began. I've never seen a pro day this fast. Like, we get a text like, "Hey guys, you may want to show up really soon because it's way ahead of schedule."
Way ahead of schedule.
Like, I've never seen a pro day over that early. It's like they did the motzi. They put the Cam Kinchens up in the chair and they bounced him around a little bit, and then like it was over. And usually this thing lasts way more hours than it did. Usually the scouts request, "Hey, I want to see this guy do these things, and I want to see that guy do this." There was none of that. Like, they ran the 40, they did like a 3-cone drill, short shuttle, and that was it. And like they kept Branson Dean and Leonard Taylor.
Yeah.
They kept Branson Dean and Leonard Taylor for like an extra 20 minutes. And like that was it. It was shockingly fast. The scouts seemed to have no interest in running any of these guys through any of drills. They wanted to go, get to the post bar mitzvah party or whatever, which is, usually a bus takes everyone from the bar mitzvah to the beach to some club, which I assume is where everybody went. And that's like what it was. It felt like that to me, I mean, because that's what the only things I'm invited to are religious, because nobody wants me to anything social that is non-religious. It's like, that's it. So I get invited to those things once in a while. And that's what it felt like. It felt like a football bar mitzvah where it's like, hey, have some good food, hang out with some people for a little while. Don't go on the dance floor because, we're Jewish. And that's not really our forte. Well, not my forte, I should say. Maybe you can dance. I certainly can't. That was it. So, but yeah, it was a good time. And got in, got out, wrote my story, went to baseball practice, went to bed, woke up early, going back to football practice this morning, baseball game tonight. Hopefully we don't tape one of these stupid shows tomorrow morning and I get to relax for a day. That'd be nice.
The most exciting part for me was hearing from people inside the program that they think that their defensive tackles transfers, Marley Cook and CJ Clark, are going to be better than last year's.
God, you fall for this. You fall for this every damn year. Oh, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
You're right. I'm fired up, man. I'm not.
Tell me. Listen. No. Why don't you tell me this? Tell me when they tell you how bad somebody is, because the team sucks for 20 years, and every year you get in the damn show and you talk about how everything's great. All these players are going to be great. The coaches are saying how amazing everything is. We talk about the same damn thing every damn time. Like, I'm over it. Just show me, man. I mean, CJ Clark has been with the twos. Marley Cook looks like, he should be in a Willy Wonka movie. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's just the truth. Okay? So, like, don't come to me and be like, "Oh my God, they're better than Leonard Taylor and Branson Dean."
That guy can lift 700 pounds, man. I want to see you say that. I want to see you say that.
I don't care, dude. I will say anything to anybody at any time.
Wonka movie. Come on, man. That's crazy.
What are you talking? He's a great. I'm saying he's a great actor.
Pounds, that guy.
Yeah, that's why he'd be great in the movies. I'm saying he's like The Rock. What do you think I meant? He should be in the movies. He's amazing.
Man, the Rock is jacked up these days again, man. He's been working out. He's ready for his big WrestleMania performance. And we had a story about that last week. But anyway, so no, listen, I hope they're right. Okay. I'm not as negative as you. I'm not gonna poke holes in it. I heard enthusiasm.
I'm curious what you think the difference is.
No, they don't, not that they feel they're there. but because they're not there, and they need to be a lot better on the defensive line, and they know that. But they feel like what they're seeing on the practice field in spring practice is improvement over what they had at the position last year. And if it is, all the power to it, because they need to be better really in a lot of places. But defensive tackle is one of the variables of this next season coming up. I don't think there's any question about it. It's an area that I know I'm watching very closely here in spring, which is why I was having conversations about it. And, I think they will add one more body in the portal if they can at that position. And I think they'll add another defensive end out of the portal, more as a depth filler than looking for a starter, because they are counting on Messidor and Bain being the starters next year. But, I was encouraged that they feel like they're making progress at defensive tackle. So that's a good thing. But no, like Matt says, we got to see it. We got to see it in the fall. I'm not overreacting to it. I'm just, passing it on for those that are listening this morning or watching this morning that would like something to feel positive about. That would be one thing. And then, of course, the other thing that everybody is just like in awe of is the talent that Cam Ward is bringing into the program. Hopefully, obviously, that shows up on Saturdays in the fall because he is definitely a potentially elite talent at that position next year. So they are looking for another receiver for him as well. They haven't been able to find it yet, but you got to remember this Cam Ward thing happened very late in the process. And now receivers out there, they know Cam Ward's going to be at Miami, and the word is out that Cam Ward needs one or two alpha dudes to join him with what Miami already has on the roster at receiver. And I wouldn't be shocked if Cam Ward himself was able to recruit a pretty good receiver to come play with him at Miami. So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting time in the portal here, both football and basketball, really, as the month of April approaches. All right. Again, spring practice resumes this morning. And Matt, just the weirdest of schedules. I mean, we're all fired up for spring. We watched 3 practices. And then they took a week and a half off for spring break, and now they're gonna roll it back up again. When you do this, in your opinion, because this is my concern, when you take a break like that, does that render the first 3 practices almost meaningless?
They do this all the time. No, not at all. They have to get the 3 practices out of the way because the NCAA doesn't let you put on full pads for a while, so you have to ramp up to it. And, to me, I've got no problem with doing it the way they do it. It gives you an extra, honestly, couple of weeks later on to just get into your summer conditioning program, which is just as important. So if you're not practicing at all, you basically lost those last 2 weeks, and you're just doing the same old stuff that you've already been doing for, since the end of the season, pretty much. So I like the idea. You need to get going. You need to get moving. You need to get into your different programs, different systems. I mean, they know what they're doing. Like, they've done this forever. It's not by coincidence. I'm not going to say, oh my gosh, what are they? What idiots that they take a practice for a week and then a week off. No, I think it's smart. They do it for a reason.
All right. Well, we will obviously be out there this morning bringing you guys video and coverage, the usual assortment of content elements that we always do. After practice is over, we're going to be able to talk to Mario Cristobal, which is going to be a good thing. We haven't spoken to Mario in a while. Get his impressions on these opening spring practice sessions. And then you heard me talk about defensive line. Well, voila, we are going to get to talk to the defensive linemen after practice today. We're going to talk to CJ Clark. We're going to talk to Marley Cook. We're going to talk to the veteran returnee and Jared Harrison Hunt. And we also get to talk about a newcomer that I've been hearing, some pretty positive things about as well. Matt Shodell, keep your mouth shut. I don't want to hear your nonsense again. And that's Elijah Alston. Okay. He's a guy that they feel is going to fit right into the rotation at defensive end, backing up Messidor and Bain, and be a very high quality contributor to the 2024 season. So all that is good stuff. And we'll be bringing that to you around midday today. So stay tuned for that. A lot of recruits are going to be visiting practice today. We will have coverage of them. We also have several recruiting stories on the website for you first thing this morning. One of which is on another kid from Miami Central, believe it or not, another defensive lineman from Miami Central, and that is Floyd Bucard. The Canes offered him earlier this month. They're making a big push for him. We update where things stand there. We also talked to Enterprise Alabama cornerback Andrew Purcell. Miami has recently offered Purcell, and we update where things stand with him and the Canes as well. We also catch up with another safety from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. His name is Jadon Blair. He is one of the most sought-after defensive backs in the country. Miami is among his top programs right now, thanks to the recruiting efforts of the Hurricanes linebacker coach, believe it or not, but that North Carolina area is his recruiting terry. Derek Nicholson's doing a great job of recruiting Jadon Blair. We update where he stands. On another note, On3 released their initial rankings, the On3 top 300 for the 2026 class. We take a look at that. We take a look at Miami recruits that are already on the board from that On300 list. We get the take of the On3 scouting and ranking staffs as well. So we have a lot of coverage of this initial debut of the 2026 recruiting class On3 top 300 rankings. So make sure that you check that out as well. Well, that's going to do it for this morning for Good Morning CaneSport. Nice short and sweet show for you here. If you're on YouTube right now and you like it and you like our channel, hit your subscribe and like buttons. It helps us with the algorithms in building our audience. If you're not yet a subscriber to CaneSport.com, please come on over. We want to unite the entire Canes Nation on our website. We do everything we can do every single day to enhance your fan experience, and we would like for you to be a part of it. So please come on over to CaneSport.com and join our community of fans. And I'll even throw that special we got up on the screen again. We'll give you your first 2 months for $1. So just use the code Canes1 when you create your new account. It's going to be a new account. And we will take care of your first 2 months for $1 and get you in the door. And hopefully you will like what you find once you get here. So for Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. Thanks again, everybody, for starting your day with us. And we will see you next time.